If you come into Palolem, this is the softest, most gentle, nicest door of all Palolem, isn't it? Aye. I'm going to take you on this little drive. I'm going to head over to, I think, Patnem. Falling into line with the last video about whether or not Palolem is a hidden gem. And I said that I don't feel it fits into that category. I think the likes of Patnem and the beach next to it is a bit more into that. One thing to know if you're driving in India in general, driving style is not what we're used to in the West. So always be prepared. Part of that, as I've just realised as I'm talking, is wear a helmet. You know, I've seen recently like really old photos and videos of Goa from the 1970s when people were coming here as part of the hippie trail. And it's like, wow, another world, like so underdeveloped. Now, I'm not saying this beach is quite on that level. Compared to the level of development that there's around now, yeah, it's very raw. So I want to take you down there so you can have a quick look. Stop here, I think. The sunlight is gorgeous right now. We're kind of coming into golden hour. It just feels very authentic, and ignore all the bikes down here. There's no chaos, as you can see. It's a walking street. The one thing I never really know though, is if you're trying to buy silver, how do you know it's genuine? Like, how do you know it's authentic? I know they say, oh, it's got the 925 stamp on it, signifying that it's sterling silver. But if they've made it, surely anyone can stamp that on. You know, I want to buy some silver, but I don't have a clue. I'm not a jeweler or a jewellery person. I could be buying aluminium for all I know. This is Patnem Beach. Gorgeous little beach, this. I've been here a few times in the daytime. It's very relaxing. It's very chill. And we've got a puppy. Stop biting me. You've got sharp teeth. When you bite, you're gonna hurt. Palolem is just over them trees there, basically. I think there's one more beach over on the other side, Palolem Beach. But where we're going right now, where I really want to show you, is beyond that cliff face there. Just around that corner, we've got a gorgeous little beach. Now don't get me wrong, look around you. See, this is very quiet. Go to Arambol, Palolem will look so quiet. And then come here, it's another step down, in a good way. So I'm a big fan of Patnem. It's very nice around here. And one thing's for certain as well, is that at this time of the day, when the sunset comes, the beach actually gets a little bit busier. So even in the daytime, it's much quieter than this. I think the options on Patnem Beach, very similar to Palolem. It's kind of primarily these little beach cabanas that line in the edge of the beach. You can get a better perspective from here. You see the beach is much smaller. Maybe, I don't know, half the size of Palolem? Maybe even less. I'm not laughing at him either. Don't confuse me. Just entertains me. Just a guy living his best life. Here's another one. It's impressive. Get through there. So no, don't worry about it. What that guy was doing was crazy strong. Basically, like, holding his whole body up on a rock whilst he was doing it, like just basically yoga poses, but very impressive. I tend to do mine not on camera. Don't really like to show off too much. Anyway, here's the beach. So look, you see, basically no development at all. There's a few people walking down here, I think generally curiosity. And at the end of the beach, there's an inlet, or an outlet, shall we say, for a river. So perhaps some of these people are going down there, maybe they're staying in that area. There's a little boat, and I'm talking very small, like a little ferry service that will take people across to the little village. So maybe some of them are from there. And behind this fence, unbeknownst to anyone walking down here really, there's a fancy resort. That might be one of the reasons why this place is underdeveloped. Maybe they just own the beach. I'm not sure. However, hello? You friendly? Come. Okay. Come on, I know you want to be friends. Come. So hello. See, I knew that you were friendly. Hey. You're a bit stinky though. Hello. You're scary, you're a big dog. You never be too careful with the dogs. Most of them are very friendly. However, I've noticed, not all, let me just really stress this, not all locals, some of them really treat the animals very badly. You know, they treat them as an inconvenience. I shouted at a guy the other day. Let's have a little walk across here. Not sure where this water's coming from. A bit concerned that it's not clean, but yeah, I shouted at a guy the other day who he owns a store in Palolem on the main road, and the dog that was at the beginning of this video, gorgeous dog, so placid and so nice and just friendly to everyone, and it was just minding its own business out on the street, and he came out and he belted it so hard with this stick. It was so, there's no other word for it other than cruel. So again, like, I've seen that a few instances. I've seen plenty of locals being very, very nice to animals as well. So I want to stress that it's not all locals, but you do see it in some of the animals. You see that they can be very nervous. They don't know immediately how to judge you. You know, whether you're going to give them a smack or what. Great spot though. So you're getting an idea a little bit now of what I'm talking about when I'm saying hidden gems, because once upon a time, at least based on the photos and the very old videos that I've seen, which by the way come via there's a profile or a page on Instagram called, it's called Goa Vintage Memories. It's basically a local Goan girl, and she just puts together all these old photos and videos that she finds from travelers or people that lived here, you know, going 50s, 60s, 70s onwards. It's really fascinating to see just how much everything has changed, because Goa, the crab in there, can you see that? There he is. Oh, he's coming for me. Goa is still a very kind of raw place, but the tourist spots, you know, they're quite, I would say developed, it's not the right word, but you know, there are buildings, there are businesses, the beaches are busy, there's industry, you know, and there's people making money. once upon a time, people who maybe would have just owned farms or just lived off their land. You know, nowadays a lot of them, they might own a clothing store or a restaurant or all these different things, you know. But once upon a time, before everything how it is now, much of it would have looked like this. When I came here the other day, there was 5 or 6 people on this whole stretch of the beach. So this right now is at its absolute busiest. I think right here we've got literally the extent of the industry here on this beach. But I am quite surprised just how busy it is compared to when I came the other day. And that might sound like a little bit of a joke, because as you can see, there are basically very, very few people here. Nonetheless, much busier than when I came a couple of days ago in the afternoon. I think though that's indicative of the weather right now. It's very, very hot, very humid in this part of India currently. And it's only getting, I won't say worse, that's the wrong way to describe it, but it's only going to get stronger. So as the weeks and months are going on now, we're really coming into a time of the year where it kind of becomes very, very difficult here in India, weather-wise, I mean. And then it will kind of peak, and then it will lead into the monsoon season. Lovely little spots here for the sunset. Not entirely sure what's going on here. Seems to be a decent crowd of people. It's the selfie central by the looks of it. They've all got flowers on their heads, so they must all be part of the same group. Like I did say, there is a resort just behind that tree line there, so I wonder whether these are all guests from the resort. They must be, because they look like I was having a photo session. They all look like they just walked out of a Hawaiian hotel. Nothing quite like the sight of Indians taking selfies, having photo sessions. Indians, Sri Lankans, many Asians in fact. Honestly, never seen professionals like it when it comes to posing and taking selfies. They really are the masters. I think so many of them actually study the poses. Honestly, I get so impressed when I see it. And the thing that's the most impressive is that when they're taking photos, obviously they get their friends to take pictures. None of them are doing it with any kind of judgment. You know, it's like, hey, take a picture of me, and they're doing all these poses. The friends are not laughing at them, like they're fully supportive. You know, if that was in the UK, like anywhere else, your friends would be laughing at you, and here they're just good people, you know. So we're approaching the end of the beach now. Kind of just around that bend, you see where the inlet outlet of water is from the river, and you're just starting to kind of get little glimpses of like fishermen's huts where they keep the things. And as you can notice, the majority of the people that have come to the beach have made the walk from Patnem, so most of them have given up by this point. You can see the bulk of them are down there. Very few people down this end. this little fishing village over on the other side. They run these little boat services, and I'm talking the very small boats, you know, like these ones, some of them even smaller. I caught one the other day that was actually was like rowing it with like a paddle, like a gondola. So me here now, if I wanted to go across to the other side, I'm not entirely sure how I would arrange that, but you can definitely come across. I'd have to commandeer a boat myself, I reckon, by the looks of it. As per usual, I've probably spoken too much, but I just really wanted to highlight a part of Goa here in the south, which is really well placed. You know, it's next to some popular places, Palolem and Patnem. It's very accessible. You know, you're not having to disappear off into the wilderness to find this place. So should you come to southern Goa, or even if you're in other parts of the country and you're looking for something that isn't your stereotypical go and visit, then this area, I definitely recommend it. Or at the very least, come to Palolem and head over this way for some afternoon relaxation and to see a beautiful sunset. Look how impressive that is. I can promise you right now that the GoPro is not doing that justice. The sun looks huge in the sky, it's bright red. What a privilege. And with that, with this simple video, I'm going to leave the GoPro recording here so you can see the end of the sunset, and we'll call it a day on another Wander Life video. So thanks for coming along, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.